Hey guys, it's Alatory Racing. We're finally back with a part 3 video for this PW80 build. And I know in the last video we did say that in part 3 we were going to be trying to take this thing out to the track and dial her in to be 100%. However, we did do that and I forgot to get the footage. I apologize for that, but now we are in a whole different situation. So let me explain. Here is the PW80 as it sits, and as you guys can see, I have the cylinder and piston completely off of this thing, as well as the ignition cover. And that is because on track debut day we took her out, and 2 laps in I ended up going down on this thing, right? And that is due to this front end being a little soft. You were going to have to be purchasing the BBR fork springs they sell for KX65, or maybe even looking into the race tech, get our weights set up for this PW80. Be pretty sick. But this thing went down, sand got all up in the reeds, carb, and including the piston and all up in the cylinder, messed everything up, in addition to me using faulty equipment. So let me explain that too. All right guys, so here we have the original cylinder as well as the piston that we were running in it at the time. And as you guys can see, this piston sustained quite a bit of damage, including this little part right here. So as you guys can see, a little bit of material was taken out of this piston, and I was wondering where it was. Sure enough, it was welded on the inside of this cylinder, and with all of that other damage, this thing scraped up all the insides, making this cylinder pretty much unusable. So what we went ahead and did is got another cylinder that was again ported by Jax Industries, shout out to him, as well as splurging a bit and going with a full Wiseco piston on this PW80. These ports and intake look insane, super smooth as you guys can see. Once again, this build would not be what it is without this guy. Huge shout out to him once again. And the signature touch from any Wiseco piston is of course the little baggie. And just like that, wow, we got that nice Wiseco piston for this PW80. Having these 2 pistons side by side, you can really see the difference in the build. Not only is this Wiseco piston look better, but it's also a little thinner on these skirts that I guess you could call on the piston. I don't know, this thing just looks all around better, and we'll see if it gives us that performance. And since last time, we do have this head painted gold to match the rear shock on this bike. Looks pretty sick when it's on there. And look at this pipe. We got this Pro Circuit Works pipe heat treated, and I had a couple patches on the back just because it was hitting against the corner of one of these fins. Ended up having a tiny little hole, nothing a little JB Weld can't fix. I don't care, it's on the back side of this pipe, you won't ever see it. But man, this heat job works on this pipe. It looks insane to be on the PW80. So without further ado, let's get this bike back inside. Put that piston on. And we do have the XR 50 bars, of course a staple in every pit bike that is going to be built. And as you guys can see, this PW80 had quite a bit of time on that top end. It was going for a while. Have a lot of little ripping clips that we have from here in the local river. We'll put them in the video now. But we do have this thing registered for the OHV parks, so we want to get this thing up and running so we can get her out there. Here we are inside PW80 rebuild kit, ready. Pipe, head, old one out the way, no need for that. Let's get straight into it. These should be sufficient tools to get this job done. Unfortunately, during packaging and shipping between me and Jax Industries, some of these fins were unfortunately chipped off, but actually that is all good in this case, because in order for the big carb flat slide to fit, I do normally trim this top fin, but I haven't trimmed this bottom fin before, so maybe this will give us a little more clearance than we need. But 2 fins out of the entirety of the cylinder should not hurt us one bit. In addition to the speech that I was saying earlier, I did go ahead and get rid of the real knockoff carburetor that I was running before, and now we have the Nibby PWK N24 24 millimeter that is not only a lot better quality than the carb I had previously, but we also now have the function of this power jet. So maybe at the top of the RPMs with the added power jet, and just as well as this being a better build carb with the jet ports and all of that, maybe we should be running a lot better. And you guys know how we do. We are only going to be utilizing the cylinder gasket against the engine case to prevent oil leak, but we will not be using this head gasket. That is because we want to be building as much compression as possible, so this will be giving us a tighter squish between the spark. So without further ado, let's get this gasket installed and slide the cylinder on. There we have the gasket, and plenty of gasket maker for these oily PW80 engines. And before we slide the cylinder on, we're going to be getting our piston in there first. And before she goes all the way in, just want to show that we are in fact running a single ring piston. That is because we are making most of our power at the high RPM range. So with the 1 ring piston, we will have less friction, thus making us better power and more efficiently at the higher RPMs. So let's get this thing slid on the rest of the way, put on that head, and let's see where this brings us. And there we have it. Have the Wiseco inside our ported and polished PW80 cylinder. Look at that smoothness. Perfect, exactly what we want. So it gets installing this head and the exhaust. Give her a test fire. Just like that, there's our head. And there she is, all bolted up, real nice and easy. As you guys can see, we've been using this heater hose that attaches right here at the very end of the pipe. The pipe is split right here, and it attaches to the silencer, which ends right about here. And this is certified heater grade hose, and so far it hasn't given me any issues. I did have a different type of hose before and it melted on me, caved in on the inside. Learned our lesson, got this hose, and it's been fine ever since. But enough about that. Let's make sure this thing has gas, open up this garage, and give her a go. Alright guys, a little flash forward here with the PW80. In the last clip, as you guys can tell, there was a little bit of a buzzing noise going on inside of the engine, and upon inspection there was a little bit of metal that somehow got into our cylinder, brand new, with the piston, and caused it to seize up momentarily. But don't worry, we were able to save the cylinder and sanded down all the little pieces that were scuffed, and to be honest, it wasn't too bad. We were able to save it. I'm happy that was the case. And as you guys can see, we also installed a new air filter. The new air filter is pretty cool, but it does get rid of that stock airbox, which acts as a front fender sort of to this engine. So we are going to have to do something about this PW front fender. I was thinking just to get something that wraps around the back in this section a little more, we could go the brand new YZ65 front end. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Another big part of the issue that I had with this PW80 was this bolt right here with the reed cage kept stripping itself out on the inside, so I had to redo it a couple times, redo the threads inside of there. Got that fixed, no more air leaks. And because of the air leaks, and that is why we are running this new filter, we have to have this carb more directly connected onto the intake. As you guys can see there, the other one had this carb going in at an angle, wasn't getting the seal that we wanted. So this is our setup that we'll have to be running now. As a result of getting this thing sealed up, we did find out that we are going to be needing a little bit leaner of a main jet in this Nibby carburetor, because this thing does smoke quite a bit and doesn't quite rev out in the power band. So we're going to have a Polini jet kit coming in this week, so be tuned for part 4 of this PW80. Alright guys, that'll be it for this video, for the part 3 of the PW80 video. I'm sorry we weren't able to get as many riding clips as I thought we were going to be able to in the last part, but setbacks are setbacks when you are building such a machine. This thing has so much potential, and I promise you guys, when this thing is done, it will be insane. Right now it looks great, that raw pipe looking real nice with the R304 silencer, that Owen's tucked underneath there, and of course this thing is finally officially registered. So this thing just needs to get to a ride park, but until then, we'll see you guys in part 4.